Okay, so this is the string breakdown, orchestral breakdown of Funeral. Let's go into it.
Holding up her glass, gazing through.
Alright, so right off the bat we have viola 1, viola 2, violin 1, violin 2, violin 3, and violin 4. Now you'll see there's doubles of each string part. But you'll see underneath that, these green regions, that's actually MIDI, that's actually contact string samples. And while they don't sound completely convincing on their own, mixed in with the real strings, it's like a nice support and sort of fills everything out. For example, this is violin 1 without the samples. This is the samples by itself. Again, not super convincing. But underneath, it's nice. And yeah, and then you'll see these, like I've always liked when songs, let me rephrase. I've always liked when arrangements, they have the vocal and the strings sort of playing off of each other. It's almost like a duet. And so that's what I was trying to go for with this verse. You know, these vocals come in, and then as they die out, the strings swell in, and then the strings stop, and then the vocals will start again. Just responding with each other, almost like a question-answer situation.
Holding up her glass, gazing through the shadow night, she says, "Here's to lovers past. This one, he was taken far too soon." Smiling in the
Yeah, so there's this obnoxious sound that it's this. It's just like a sample from Stylus, but yeah, I know it's a little silly, but I like it.
too soon.
Oh, and these cello pizzicatos, also samples, but hard to tell in the mix of everything. Bringing back the motif, which is that's gonna reappear, come and go quite frequently, along with some other elements of this song. We also have the piano, which is the grandeur from Contact. And some glockenspiel underneath. And all together, it's
Smiling in the casket, as if I could hear it. Oh, he's the only one for me.
I also have these vocals, these falsettos, they're obnoxious.
Oh, he's the only one for me.
Yeah, so this song is it's a comedy. You know, at least it's meant to be. Sure, thematically it's about fantasizing about your own funeral, which is kind of dark, but it's meant to be light. And so, you know, in this fantasy of mine, I have all these important people at my funeral toasting me, and you know, in the first verse they're toasting me and talking about how there'll never be another one like me, and you know, just completely over the top. And these falsettos here are supposed to be like the sort of weeping women that are throwing themselves over my coffin, you know, in dread. But yeah, it's a comedy, so.
I would kill to be a ghost. I would kill to be a ghost in the comfort of my own.
All right. right, so I have this choir pad, which is being very subtly triggered by these keys right here. So up top, every time these happen, I think it's just a kick sample, it's triggering a compressor that I put on the choir pad to duck, basically. It's a bit subtle, and you'll hear it, you know, very often in popular music, EDM, dance music. You know, every time that kick hits, like it seems everything is swelling and ducking underneath it. That's just that. I love this part. So before in the first verse, you know, the vocals were sort of asking the questions, ba da ba ba ba, and then the strings were answering the questions, da 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 da, and now in this instrumental break, it's just string on string, you know. Let's see, those are the violas. Let's take the violins right here. Call and respond. Oh, also I have timpanis. These guys. And of course I don't have access to real timpanis, so these are samples, but it just, yeah, and these aren't even in the full band version, but without the drums, the bass, the guitars, you know, I was making this for the Deluxe album, this orchestral version, and I was just feeling like it was missing that bit of gravity on the bottom, so I added them, along with like this bass synth, just to really give it some weight.
Always so compassionate. Oh, a true humanitarian. Cries the weeping president while accompanied by violin. Then as they lay.
Okay, so we got these staccato strings. I could just see by looking at them. And then these arpeggiating strings underneath. And yeah, so apparently in my fantasy of my funeral, the president shows up and is just torn up about it. But well, knowing who the president is now, I don't think he's invited. So okay, and then we have the pre-chorus, which is this.
Lay me down to rest. Release the dust and fire off the cannon.
Of course, I have to have an explosion after I say the word cannon, which actually doesn't sound anything like a cannon. But anywho, I have these mellotron flutes that come in that pre-chorus, sort of carrying on the melody that these guys were doing. But yeah, in this pre-chorus, you know, the strings break down a bit. What are these guys doing? Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been in here. Cannon. Boom.
I would kill to be a ghost. I would kill to be a ghost in the comfort of my own.
Okay. So I love doing these breakdowns because no one ever will know just how much is going on with these strings, how many melodies are, are happening. So yeah, we have these. And then our motif from before returns, which is this. So you have the women coming back.
He's the only one for me.
You have a narrow, yeah, this is the EQ on that. I have some weird vocals going on here. Let's just see what the hell I did. Yeah, I just decided to do that. Ending with our motif, which is. And yeah, and that's the breakdown. I hope you enjoyed it.